Hello and welcome to the A New Day show, where we believe in making a difference. And today's topic will be personal growth. So I am going to be sharing some of my personal experiences with you, some of my information with you, and of course, the bulk of the information I will share will be from the renowned author, John Maxwell. I know John is no stranger to a lot of you who are listening. So I hope that you will be able to find this information useful and valuable. A lot of times we look on prominent people and speakers and we think that they all have it together. But as I share this information tonight, or today or this morning, whenever you are listening to it, you will realize that not everyone has it together. And I want you to read a couple of paragraphs here that John Maxwell wrote. And as I say, we are speaking about personal growth. And one of the things I want you to take note of is that personal growth does not just happen. You can't just wake up, go to bed and wake up the next day and figure, oh, well, I've had it together. It is something that you need to invest in. You need to invest time. And a lot of times you need to invest money. You need to invest effort. You need to invest patience. Okay? And last but by no means least, you must demonstrate lots and lots of passion. So here's what John Maxwell writes. Life is now in season. Are you present? You know, they say each and every day we wake up, there are different seasons of our lives. And just like how we have spring, summer, autumn, winter, it's the same thing in our lives, that we go through different stages of our lives. And the way we come out on the other side is dependent on what season we believe that we are in. But here is what John wrote. Do you have a plan for your personal growth? And this was a question that was asked by Kurt Campermeyer to John. The man who asked me the question, he wrote, waited patiently for my response. It was a question that would change my life. I fumbled for answers. I listed my accomplishments from the previous 3 years. I talked about how hard I worked. I outlined my goals. I explained the things I was doing to reach more people. All of my answers were based on activity, not on improvement or improving. Finally, I had to admit it. I had no plan to become better. You're listening to, these are statements of an author, a renowned leader, both spiritually and secular leader, that travels the world over, speaking and working with people, and he's replying and admitting that he had no plan to get better. It was something I had never considered before, and it exposed a major flaw in my approach to work and success. You know, this shows us that honesty is the best policy, and when we all becomes vulnerable, then we are ready to succeed in life and to become more successful, because vulnerability is the thing that opens us up, and that is how people connect with us. So I'm very impressed that John wrote this. When I started my career, I was intentional about working, reaching my goals, and being a success. I had a strategy, hard work, I hoped, that would get me where I wanted to go. But working hard doesn't guarantee success. And hope isn't a strategy. How do you get better at what you do? How do you improve your relationships? How do you gain more depth and wisdom as a person? How do you gain insight? How do you overcome obstacles? Work harder? Work longer? Wait for things to get better? Now, before I continue reading any further here, I can share from personal experience that the answer to all of these questions that John apparently asks himself has to do with his resilience, or your resilience, or my resilience, especially when it comes to obstacles. We go through life, and if you have never been knocked down, you're about to be knocked down. And listen, the vigor and the strength and the vitality that you get up with is going to be dependent on what I call your resilience IQ. We always hear people talk about intelligence, IQ, and all of that. But in order for us to have strong means of bouncing back, we must maintain a high resilience IQ. So I just want you to make a note of that. And he continues, that conversation happened over lunch at a Holiday Inn restaurant in 1972. At the time, I had just been given the opportunity to move up in my career. I had been offered the best church in my denomination. Think about being offered a top leadership job in a premier location in your company. That's what it was for me. The problem was that I was 24 years old. I was in way over my head, and I knew that if I didn't rise to the occasion, I would fail spectacularly. Kurt was a salesman who was selling a growth kit, a year-long plan with materials designed to help a person grow. He slid the brochure across the table to me. It cost $799, which was nearly a month's salary for me at the time. My mind was racing. I drove home. I had believed that success would come to anyone who poured himself in his career. Kurt helped me to realize that the key to personal growth, that was the key to personal growth. It occurred to me that if you focus on goals, you may hit goals, but that doesn't guarantee growth. If you focus on growth, you will grow and always hit goals. As I drove, a quote from James Allen, "As a man thinketh," came to my mind. I had just read that book in 7th grade and had subsequently read it nearly a dozen times. Allen wrote, "People are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves." I think I need to repeat this. People are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. And that's a deep, soul-searching question, not a judgmental one, but a soul-searching question that each and every one of us needs to ask ourselves ever so often. They therefore remain bound. I couldn't afford what Kirk was offering, yet in my heart I knew that he had uncovered the key to the ability to meet my next leadership challenge and go to the higher levels of my career. I could see the gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. Where I needed to be was a growth gap, and I needed to figure out how to bridge that gap. As I read this, you're probably saying, she's talking about me, she's reading about me. And you're probably right. Only you will know that question. I'm here to tell you, none of us has arrived. Each and every day that we get up, we need to make the effort to become a better person. Not only for ourselves, not only for our families, but for the community and the environment that we share. Each and every day that I wake up, I make a commitment to myself that I am going to make a difference today, regardless of what it takes, no matter what. If it's even one person that I can find to share a smile with, it is going to be worth my time. And I personally have found out that on my personal growth journey, one of the things that has been helping me over the years is my ability to continuously show gratitude. When you show that you are grateful for the slightest thing, then you keep attracting all the amazing things to you. So if you're having struggle, and if you are one person that you're stuck between the cracks of the growth gap, I encourage you to begin a journal, a gratitude journal, or I invite you to join me, because I'm part of a community on the internet, the Gratitude Log, where every day people from around the world, we express on that log what we are grateful for. So I encourage you and invite you to join me. And it's free. So you can look it up on the internet. It's thegratitudeblog.com. You look for Daphne Clarke-Hudson and you join me there. You need to identify whether or not you are stuck in the growth gap. A lot of times when we are stuck, we don't need anybody to tell us, because we know. And what holds us and what bounds us in the growth gap is that we are fearful of what may happen to us. So we sit there and we do nothing. The next thing that happens that holds us hostage is the assumption gap. I assume that I will automatically grow. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, that does not happen. You got to put the work in. You must do your due diligence. The other thing that you must do, you must realize that you are an individual. So don't place your growth on what somebody else has done or what they are doing. You design a program or a curriculum for yourself. Invest the time and the money in finding a coach or a mentor, somebody that you admire who will help you along. So nothing is going to automatically happen. You must push that starter button. The knowledge of gap. I don't know how to grow. It was Bruce Springsteen that says, a time comes when you need to stop waiting for the man you want to become and start being the man you want to be. I was listening to an interview with that lady who swam from, I forget her name, she swam from Cuba to Florida. And I listened to an interview with her, and she said she had in her intention about who she wanted to be. So it is important. We must be intentional in everything we do. Every day we wake up, we must be intentional about what it is I want to accomplish today. And our personal growth is no different. You must have the intention. Hey, I know I can become this. This is what I want to be. And you go forth and do that. There's another thing that holds us back is the time gap. You hear people say, oh, I'm too old. Listen, guys, age is just a number. You're as old as you feel or as you allow yourself to feel. My mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe, often says there are a lot of people that he has met around the world, and they are already dead, just waiting to be put in the grave, because you wake up every day, you have no intention about what it is you want to do with your life, and you just sit there and you just be in a la-la land, what am I going to do today? Wake up. You can make a difference in this world. It is not the right time to begin, is what people will say. Oh, I'm going to wait. And I know that a lot of people in the spiritual arena, and they will say, oh, I'm waiting on God. Wake up, guys. Because from the day that your mother gave birth to you, he already created you for a purpose. So why don't you start? It is never too late. Each and every day when you get the gift of life, it's the right time to start working on your intentions about your personal growth. Another thing that holds us hostage is the mistake gap. I'm afraid of making a mistake. Listen, we enjoy electricity now with light bulbs, and I don't even need to expand on that, because we know how many mistakes were made when these inventors were working on those. What makes you think you should not make a mistake? And as a matter of fact, if you look on the mistakes that you call yourself making, then you will say, hey, these are lessons learned. I've learned my lesson. Instead of, just throwing in the towel and giving up on yourself, you are the one that is holding yourself back. So it's okay to make mistakes. At least you are not just sitting down and doing nothing. So get up, make a mistake. You look at a child who is learning to ride a tricycle or even to walk. how many times do they fall down? Do they stop that? They don't just sit down on the parents. They say, come on, baby, wake up and let's going. And before you know it, that child is running around. The other thing that holds us back is the perfection gap. I have to find the best way. You will never find the best way. You will just find a way. Start with that one way that you have found and build on that. Start somewhere. It's like a puzzle. If you open the box with that puzzle and you put it out on the table, the puzzle is not going to automatically start putting itself together. So you create the intention. Once you open the box and you say, all right, it's my intention to complete this puzzle in 7 days. Here is how I'm going to complete it in 7 days. I'm going to use my lunchtime to do it. I'm going to do it after dinner instead of watching the TV, unless you're watching their New Day show, of course. It's my intention to finish it in such and such a time. So you set the goal along with your intention, and before you know it, you have a puzzle ready to be framed. The next thing is the inspiration gap. I don't feel like doing it. And guess what? That's a combination of laziness and fear. You don't feel to do it. You should have all the energy and the excitement because you wake up and you realize, I'm given one more day. Let me get busy. And just concentrate on growing yourself. What can I do today to make myself better? Just do it. I want to read this from John's book for you. Just do it. We hear it almost every day. Sigh, sigh, sigh. I just can't get myself motivated to lose weight, test my blood sugar. And we hear an equal number of sighs from diabetic educators who can't just get their patients motivated to do the right things for their diabetic health. We have news for you. Motivation is not going to strike you like lightning. And motivation is not something that someone else, a nurse, a doctor, a family member, or a spouse will do for you. Motivation is an inside job. So, hello, if you're sitting down waiting to be motivated, you got to knock here and say, wake up, because our motivation is on the inside of us. Forget about getting someone to motivate you, and you got to go out there and motivate yourself. The comparison gap. Others are better than I am. No one in this world is better than you are, because you know why I know that? You are unique. And if you see your uniqueness and couple your uniqueness with your authenticity, nobody is better than you. This is where we get sidetracked and we get derailed because we figure John is better than us, Clarice is better than us. You guys, you need to look in the mirror and see that the person that looking back at you has the ability to do all things. We are all created by greatness, and we are really cutting ourselves short. We are depriving ourselves from all the greatness that we are deserving of. So I'm here to tell you, in order for your personal growth to come around, you must be intentional about what it is that you need to do. I want to give you some means of applying the law of intentional growth to your life. Which of the gaps discussed here in my talk applies to you? Answer these questions. Is it the assumption gap? I assume that I will automatically grow. Or is it the knowledge gap? I don't know how to grow. The timing gap, it's not the right time. The mistake gap, I'm afraid of making mistakes. The perfection gap, I have to find the best way before I can start. The inspiration gap, I don't feel like doing it. The comparison gap, others do it better than I am. The expectation gap, I thought it would be easier than this. Well, let me tell you something. Nothing is easy. Life does not come easy. You must put the effort in. You have to put the effort forth. So as you recap these, only you know what you chose from there. And what I want you to do, I want you to rip this paper up, because these are all excuses and these are hindrances that is holding you back from working on your personal development. I want you to rip it up, I want you to discard it, and I want you to begin to make all the positive statements. All these statements here, I want you to turn them around and use them as lessons learned. Lessons learned that you can grow from. And in the next episode, I want to encourage you to come back, because in the next episode, I will be speaking about the law of awareness. So I hope that this episode has ruffled your feather a little bit, and that it will help you to stand up and be bold and to step out and know that you deserve greatness. You deserve all the things that you have holding yourself back. And as a matter of fact, in some situation and instances, you're holding other people back from deserving their greatness too, because their greatness is tied up into you. See you in episode 2.